Hi everybody, this is Becca Forsythe and I'm coming to you from Elmira, New York. I organize with the Poor People's Campaign a national call for moral revival. And I want to tell you about why I'm going to Washington, D.C. in June. We're going to go talk to our elected officials and we're going to tell them that we are really tired of watching history repeat itself. We don't want to watch our government exploit and injure people simply because they were born on the wrong piece of dirt anymore. We believe that everyone has a right to live. I recently had the honor to help organize the Elmira stop on the very first New York State National Emergency Freedom School bus tour. Part of our goal was to learn from the lessons of the past and find ways to overcome the evils of militarism, systemic racism, poverty, ecological devastation, and the false moral narrative. One of the lessons we learned from this experience was that these problems with immigration that we're seeing, they didn't start with the orange one. Our history goes way back to when we were those immigrants, and we used colonialism and the application of the doctrine of discovery to scrub this land of its resources and its inhabitants. And in this area, that meant the Seneca and the Haudenosaunee, and in their tribal lands. We dehumanized them based on the piece of dirt that they were born on. As history repeats itself again in Elmira, we continue to discriminate against those who were born in the wrong place. Many of the children who found their way to Elmira were here at the end of their journey on the orphan trains between the 1800s and the 1900s. Many of them weren't really orphans. They were children of immigrants that were determined to be vulnerable to needing public services. In other words, they were poor. They were separated from their families and sent to the less congested parts of the country. 56 of them are buried here in a local cemetery. We have failed to learn from our history again. The news shows us these pictures of the children in cages, but that's just another shiny thing to get us distracted and divided. In the meantime, companies like Cayuga Centers in Auburn, about 70 miles from here, are reaping huge benefits and profits from providing foster care for immigrant children, for those who have been separated from their families. New York State is now number 2 for these immigrants. This company went from reporting a $1 million deficit in 2013 to growing operations in 3 different states and reporting a $48.7 million revenue in 2017, just 4 years later. These are incredible examples of how history repeats itself and how we're all entangled in this system of oppression. We think that these are horrific things that happen one moment in time, but they're a repetition of a pattern that has kept us in poverty. We need to break this cycle and build a new house, one that respects each and every person's right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You know, the stuff they told us that this was all about in the first place. In June, my story will melt with stories from all over this nation, folks who have a similar pain and a similar suffering. We're going to say that now is the time for change. We draw on the histories of resistance that echo their truth down through the centuries and the power of the blood that has been shed for generations of struggle. We will loudly proclaim that we will move forward together and not one step back. See ya in D.C.